Welcome. So we're just going to wait a moment to let people into the Zoom part of this class. And happy to see many of you again. Some beautiful faces. Hi, George. Good to have you in the class. I hope you're well, my friend. Hello, so many. Hi, Michael. Arthur, yay. Some new faces in this class, part of the class. Hi, Aura.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Hi.
So I am going to begin while we wait for other people to join us in the Zoom. I'm going to begin with the Facebook Live group since there are many already waiting for us. So welcome, everyone. And let me begin by just refreshing everyone's memory. For those that are new, this will be how this class works. So we see this class as a planetary chrysalis. We are in this remarkable moment in our evolution where we're in between the old and the new. This is a chrysalis. And this chrysalis is helping you become your best self and helping do the same for humanity by raising your personal frequency and collectively raising our planetary frequency. More to be said on that. We also are using this class to grow our spiritual agency, our spiritual mission, and our spiritual leadership. We're also exploring how we show up, hang out, transform in the planetary goo, if you will, of the chrysalis, into beautiful butterflies, into our best selves, and help the planet become the same. And we do this by radiating and fully embodying the 7 qualities I've been teaching in this class. This is the last of the classes, class 7. And I want to just take a moment to honor the journey. Some of you have been on the entire journey, and some of you are just joining perhaps for the first time this evening. But over the last 7 weeks, actually 8 weeks, including the opening meditation, which covered all of these qualities, we have explored deeply the quality of love. And as I say the word love, and as I say all of them, just allow yourself to feel the full energy of the word. Let it into your heart. It's a high frequency word. It's a high frequency idea. It's a high frequency emotion, feeling. Service. The ability to give our best to the world. Blessing, the ability to offer our goodwill to other human beings on the planet at large. Prayer, the ability to invoke the divine and bring that prayer into reality. Faith, this deep, deep relationship with the unknown and the full receiving of the unknown as the truth in our lives. Deep faith. Gratitude, the ability to fully feel the beauty and the wonder and the splendor of life on this planet as a human being, in spite of all the challenges. And tonight it's community. And community is the heart of our human experience. It's our relationship with others. Community is a multifaceted, and it's foundational to our quality of life. Some of us have community, but need to evolve it to be more the way we wish it to be. We have all kinds of different communities. Perhaps they're pathological, looking at solving our human challenges. Maybe you want to make them more oriented towards our dreams and our visions. Different types of communities. Others don't have a community and they need to build one. It's difficult to walk a path, particularly a higher path of spiritual and social evolution without community. And others of us have a good community, but maybe we need to redirect it to a higher frequency mode. For example, how does it become more spiritually enlightened or more capable of showing up in the world and bring change into the world, but perhaps from a spiritual perspective? So we have lots of different types of communities, including with our family, our friends, our neighbors, our co-workers, and the larger human and spiritual communities. We're going to explore all of that in this class this evening. And our Peace on Earth game, as well as the Social Change 2.0 tools that I've been sharing with you, are all premised on the power of community to support our learning, our growth, and our ability to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish in the world. Each is based on what I call a community empowerment matrix. More to be said on that. And the qualities we've discussed in the class are all ultimately designed to enhance our sense of community and our relationships with others. So in this final class, we're going to synthesize a lot of what we've been learning so far in the context of community. For those who are joining the class for the first time, it's divided into 5 sections. An opening personal frequency raising meditation on one of the qualities, tonight is community. An opportunity to get reflection on your meditation experience. A daily practice to apply the insights received in your meditation, this evening's meditation, and to maintain a high personal frequency during the week by applying what you've learned. The opportunity to contribute to creating the world anew through our Reinventing the Planet plan, which we talk about, have been talking about, and we'll go into another dimension this evening. And then we have a final meditation where we bring all of our energies together in this Zoom class, which is a smaller kind of like live group, and then the larger Facebook community, which tends to be around 10 to 12,000 people. So there's a lot of people focused on what we're doing right now. And so that will be the end of our time this evening. I want to start with a model. Normally I move right into the meditation, but in order to go into the meditation, this model will be very helpful. And we call it the empowerment framework. It's the core of the work that I've done over the last 40 years. It's embedded. It's kind of the operating system that has been showing up in each of these classes, but I'm going to explicate it. And it can be applied at the personal, community, and planetary level. So I'm going to use it in the meditation. So that's why I'm teeing it up now. So let me move into sharing on my screen the empowerment framework. Some of you have done work with me. This is maybe going to be a review. And for others, it'll be, I think, an interesting puzzle piece that we haven't done much work with before. So this comes out of the work that my wife, Gail Straub, and I have pioneered some 40 years ago when the word empowerment was just barely entering the lexicon. And it is something that has been a work in progress over those 40 years. Our Empowerment Institute was a place where we built a global laboratory to help really develop and unpack this notion called empowerment. So let me give you the basic method, the basic model, and then the methodology, and then we're going to work with it a little bit. That's why I'm sharing it so soon. So the starting point in the model is the shift from pathology, or what doesn't work in our lives, or our community, or our world, to vision, to what we want and how to create it. Most people trying to create change in their lives tend to look at what's wrong, and they move into various modes of therapy to try to remedy it. And that's good. But to ultimately move to where we want, we have to know what we want and how to move toward it. So we start with the shift from what's wrong and how to fix it to what do we want and how do we create it. It's very elegant when you focus on what you want and how to create it. The second part of the model is the shift from what we call static to organic growth. Static being there's a fixed place to be. I'm either there or I'm not. This is my ideal of what I should be as a human being, and I have not achieved it. Therefore, I'm always falling short of what I would like to have my life or my community or my world look like. To organic growth. which comes out of the natural world, which is basically saying if something is alive, it's always growing, like a tree or a bud. And that we call the growing edge. And the power of the shift from static to organic growth is that it's an enlivening process. There's never an end to the process. And if we're alive, we're always growing. There's always the next growing edge. And I'll be using the term growing edge. And it's very elegant because it's based on the natural world's learning about growth. It's not a human-made concept. We've just applied it to our human situation. And the third part of the model is what we call the integration of self-awareness and behavioral change. Awareness is really thinking about, gaining insights into self or insights into the world or the analysis of a problem, which is okay, but it's not enough. And then behavioral change is how to translate that into actual behavioral change. How do we want our life to be, our community to be, our world to be? So the integration of awareness and behavioral change. That's the model in short. I mean, those that are more interested in that could check out our book on empowerment or my larger book on social change 2.0. So I'm just giving you the basics right now. And then there's the methodology, how you deploy or how you put on the ground this framework or this model. And it basically has 4 steps. Awareness, which asks the question, where am I now? So where am I now in my relationship to having community in my life? Where am I now in relationship to being in this planetary goo called the coronavirus lockdown and my own evolution and transformation through this process? Where am I now is kind of where am I in this process? It gives you the baseline. It increases your knowledge so you can determine what is desired. You can't just go into vision without that usually. And then the second question is, where do I want to go? So what does community look like for me in my life right now? With my neighbors, with my family, with my coworkers, with whoever. So this starts to translate the sense of where I am now into a compelling vision of what could be. And it's very important that we go from awareness to vision rather than awareness to problem solution. So we're not trying to solve a problem at this point. We're just saying, here's where I am. Where would I like to be? And then the third part is the transformation part. And this is identifying all the limiting beliefs that get in the way of me making that vision come to pass. So what we've learned about building vision is you don't have to identify limiting beliefs in advance. You don't have to get caught in the pathology. All the limiting beliefs telling you why you can't have what you want come visiting you unsolicited. So they show up on demand and you can transform them in relationship to what you want. And the last part is we call the growing edge, which helps you to articulate the next developmental step into a clear statement of intention and a clear visual image, which is the how-to of manifestation. So that's the model. And it's very effective. And we have worked with millions of people over the years and trained many people who worked with many others beyond that. So it really delivers a powerful process of accelerated growth around however you apply it, at whatever level, personal, community, planetary, organizational, what have you. So enough on that. That's the model. I want to move into applying it in the class. And I want to specifically move into applying it in our meditation on community. We're going to begin to work with a meditation on growing edges vis-a-vis our communities, the different types of communities we participate in. So we're going to move into the meditation mode now. I'm going to guide you through this meditation. So have something to write on because you may want to capture some insights from your meditation as I guide you, a notebook or smartphone or a tablet or computer or whatever you have handy. Drawing material, if you feel drawn to actually trying to capture any images that might come with the territory of your insights. So take a deep breath and let us quiet the mind. Let go of all the busyness of your day. Empty out all the thoughts, all the feelings. Whatever you need to let go to be present in this moment in time, in your life, in this incarnation. Just allow yourself to be present and empty. An empty vessel ready to be filled from within. And now I'm going to invite you to go into 3 deep breaths. And on each breath, we're going to deepen into a specific part of peace. So on the first breath, experience yourself at peace with yourself. So as you breathe in, fill your being with a sense of being at peace within. And say to yourself quietly, I am in harmony with self. I am in harmony with self. I am in harmony with self. And be in that state of harmony. Experience it. Let it fill you. Body, mind, heart, and soul. I am in harmony with self. And on the second breath, experience yourself at peace with all the people in your life. Experience yourself at peace with all the people in your life. Just see the people in your life and feel yourself at peace with each person, including people that may not even be on this planet right now, not even in a body, just all beings that you have been in relationship with or are in relationship with. And say to yourself, I am in harmony with others. I am in harmony with others. I am in harmony with others. And feel that in your body, in your heart, your mind, and your soul. And on the third breath, experience yourself at peace with the earth and all living beings who inhabit it. Experience yourself at peace with the earth, Mother Gaia, and all living beings who inhabit it. And say to yourself, quietly inside, I am in harmony with the earth. I am in harmony with the earth. This is a beautiful time of spring in this part of the world, where we see the beauty of the earth. Allow yourself to feel the harmony. And now bring in the full mantra, if you will, of experiencing yourself in a deep state of harmony with self, others, and the earth for the next minute or two, while we allow you to just be in that space of deep personal harmony. So now I'm going to invite you into the meditation, and we are going to move ourselves through the different levels that we've worked with in previous classes. So now I invite you to visualize yourself. What is my next growing edge in experiencing community in my life? So the starting point is yourself in community at large. What is my next growing edge in experiencing community in my life? What is my next growing edge in experiencing community in my life? And allow words and an image to emerge that for you represents my next growing edge, that next place of growth for me in experiencing community in my life. So allow some words to come intuitively and an image to emerge. If you want to capture that, make a note of it. Next, I want you to visualize your family members, your immediate family members. Extended if you wish as well, but minimally your immediate family members. And the question that I invite you to meditate and reflect upon is, what is my next growing edge in experiencing community with my family members? What is my next growing edge in experiencing community with my family members? And again, allow words and an image to emerge that for you represent what that next step is. And record it. And the third part of the meditation, visualize your close friends, those friends that you would call your intimate friends. And I invite you now to meditate on and reflect upon the question, what is my next growing edge in experiencing community with my friends? What is my next growing edge in experiencing community with my friends? And allow words and an image to emerge. And when you have those words and an image, you can record it. My next growing edge in experiencing community with my friends. And we move into the next part of our community building adventure. Co-workers, the people with whom you work during the day. They can be in a vocation or avocation. What is my next growing edge in experiencing community with my co-workers? What is my next growing edge in experiencing community with my co-workers? And allow words and an image to emerge. And if ever you're finding yourself with no community in any of these spaces, that becomes the growing edge to build such a community. What is my next growing edge in experiencing community with my coworkers? Allow words and an image to emerge. And now we move on to the next part of community, which is your neighbors. These are people who live in immediate proximity to your home, in your building, or the block you live in. But they are the people who are your immediate neighbors, who you may or may not have a direct relationship with. So the question is, what is my next growing edge in experience in community with my neighbors? The people that you pass, maybe with a word, maybe without a word. So allow words and an image to emerge of your next growing edge with your neighbors. And now I invite you to visualize humanity, the human community, all little under 8 billion of us. What is my next growing edge in experiencing community with humanity? What is my next growing edge in experiencing community with humanity? The human community of which I am a member. And allow words and an image to emerge. And the last is to visualize your God self, that immanent presence of the divine, that spark of the divine within each human heart. And the question is, what's my next growing edge in experiencing communion with my God self and my angelic helpers and guides, those beings that are dedicated to serve my personal spiritual evolution? What is my next growing edge in experiencing communion with my God self and my angelic helpers and guides, defined as those spiritual beings that are furthering my soul development? Allow words and an image to emerge. Take another moment to just bring your communion to closure for the moment, knowing that you can re-invoke that whenever you wish. And just let all these communities wash over you. You're building your own community within your life at large, with your family, your friends, your co-workers, your neighbors, humanity, your God self. Just allow that deep sense of the multiple dimensions to community to sort of move through your being. And feel the gratitude and the opportunity to go to the next step. Buddha calls these beings, at least the spiritual dimension of it, as the Sangha, whom we need to be in relationship with to grow. There's different kinds of Sanghas. So we're going to take 10 minutes now. Miranda's going to organize you into breakout groups of 2. If you don't wish to be in one, you can stay in the larger group. That's your choice. I'll spend some time with the Facebook group while you are in your diet. It's a great time to build a relationship. So I encourage you to take advantage of it and just introduce yourself briefly and then to share. You'll only have 5 minutes, so you may not go into a lot of depth with each of them, but just any highlights that jump out for you. And then we'll let you know as we're getting ready to come back. So take a few moments to share with each other your experience. And Miranda will organize you in a moment.
Okay, you all should get an invite on your screen that says join your breakout room, and you can just click on that and it will take you over there, and then we'll bring you back in 10 minutes.
So if you're still here, we're hoping you'll join if you want to. If not, you don't have to. Okay, so we'll assume that you're not ready to join. Oh, Sandra, are you wanting to join?
I do want to join, but I didn't get an invite.
Oh no.
Let's see. Oh yeah, it's showing up here now. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh, but that's fine. I'm happy to. Oh, there, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. So hi, Facebook land.
I have to move. Hold on, I have to move Matthew because his person didn't go into the room.
Okay. Anyway, I'm going to speak to my friends in Facebook land and invite you to share any comments or reflections on the meditation, since I am your breakout room partner and you have whatever number of other people are out there, many thousands who are also your partner. So if you want to just put into the chat any reflections or experiences from the meditation or questions or insights.
Lots of people saying hi from their locations.
So share the locations, Miranda. We'd love to hear where you're from. That's one fun part of this. So you can feel a sense of the world and our larger human community all over the world, or geographically at least.
Ecuador, Oregon, Sedona.
You can read out their name also, so we can say hi to them.
The ones with the locations?
Yeah.
It's Ed Celestina from Oregon. He's been on here before.
Hey,
Thanks
Ed.
for being back. Barbara Glazier from Sedona.
Hey, Barbara. Good to have you again.
Joanne Levine from Orlando, Florida.
Hey, Joanne.
Richard Mitchell from Niagara Falls.
Great place.
Lisa Matheson Wood from Australia.
Oh, wow.
Ella Antipichuk, sorry if I butchered your name, from Canada. Carrie Haley from Massachusetts. Anne Marie Savita Salva from Napa Valley. Michelle Kristen from Anchorage, Alaska. And if you haven't been on our class before, the reason we name all these out is because we're sending love to you in your area and your community at the same time as we read these out.
Not only are we, but everyone else in the whole class is doing it. So you're about to get a jolt of 10 or 12,000 people's love. So it's good. It's good to read out where you're from. And also we want to hear any questions or comments about the meditation itself. So maybe we'll take a pause on where you're from for a bit and just any comments. What happened in the meditation? What did you learn about the different types of communities that you're in? Where are your growing edges? What are your growing edges? What did you discover?
Kathy Ricks says, after I reached quantum level a couple of years back during meditation process, on an individual level, I have been acutely in tune with the frequencies and wavelength and signals, putting me in touch with the resonances on the atmospheric plane. It is nonstop, intermittent, ever-changing, but highly consistent. It's a pretty cool
frequency partner, yay.
Yeah.
I didn't, sorry, I left that one out. I'm sorry I left that out. You know, we could go there. So I'm happy you took us there to the cosmic level, at least, you know, beyond the earth level. So good.
Yeah, that's a beautiful description. Fiona Watson is grateful for feeling the bringing back of the community fire, which means a lot more to us than you even know, Fiona.
That is our mantra, the sacred fire. So the community fire is, yeah. I would say the fire of community is oneness. It's a oneness frequency because we open ourselves up to other human beings and other dimensions. And we move ourselves out of that which is so limiting on this planet and this plane called separation. So individuation is good to a point, but then we have to expand. And we don't often know how to do that well. So that's why we are feeling community is a very powerful part of our frequency raising work, because we need to be in relationship with other human beings if we're going to move out of that separation that we often allow ourselves to get into because it's just comfortable and or the way we've been programmed.
There's a lot of little Beautiful comments. Kathy Murray Martin said it brought her remembering. Laura
Let me say
Bowman.
hi. Hi, Kathy. How are you? I miss you. I enjoyed you when you were in the Zoom land, but I think you probably decided it's a little easier for you to just hang out in the Facebook world. But welcome. I know you. I think you're still in Issaquah, and I remember our community experiences very well. So yay for you, Kathy.
Laura Bauman said, I saw flower of life type connections with people.
Nice. So you went deep. That's a deep energy of flower of life. Yes. I'd love to hear more. Say more about that. Can you drop us a little note what you saw, flower of life connection? We'll move on, but maybe Miranda can find it. It may take a moment to capture it.
There's a little bit of lag on Facebook too, but I'm messaging her too to say it. Sydney Lee said she feels a sense of integration from these practices and more clarity.
Nice. Yep. This
Trisha?
evening class is definitely going to be more and more of that integration, but I'm happy you're starting to see the pattern of all the classes and the process of these meditations taking you through each of these levels of your being and your experience of life.
Trisha has a question. She says, when many of us are in lockdown right now, how may we focus on community when our communities aren't meeting?
I like that question. I like how demanding that question is. I mean, some people do Zoom, some people do Facebook, some do Facebook Messenger. I mean, there's a lot of ways to communicate that's not physical. I think the opportunity of the lockdown is to communicate in non-physical ways. So spiritually, meditating on your friends, sending them love, sending them light, feeling their presence, sending them gifts. My wife decided, who's always inventing cool things. She just have a new book that came out. Well, it's a book that came out a while ago called the Ashokan Way. And she has of her voice talking about this journey along this beautiful path that we walk on each day called the Ashokan Reservoir. And she has sent out 40 of these CDs to her friends. And it has been profoundly bonding because she's, through her generosity and her connection, has found a unique way to connect with people, including having her voice as part of the things that they feel. So creativity is open-ended. In fact, when we have, as they say in innovation work, a creative constraint, it opens up our creativity. So that's the invitation for you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Miranda.
Carrie Haley says, I'm a newbie. It will probably take a long time to quantum level, taking baby steps. Any comments there?
I love that you're a newbie to quantum leveling. I think probably with a few exceptions, we could all say that. So I'm happy that's even on your path. So let's see, what's the fast way to get to quantum leveling? That is a great thought. I would say the fast path is to feel yourself one with the universe and just keep expanding, 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 like the universe itself. And you will be in a quantum space because the universe expands in this quantum way. So as you sort of tap into that expansion experience, you'll be there. And if you want to, you can leave this universe and operate in other universes. This is just one of many.
Yep, but we are all babies on the journey, and in some ways these meditations help me a lot to feel the quantum reality on many levels instead of feeling not connected to that. I don't know how else to
I think that's
say
true.
that.
I think we also, it's really amazing to think about it. I mean, we've been averaging 12,000 people. I mean, some classes have had a lot more than that, but averaging 12,000 people. So imagine 12,000 people now, or maybe over the next few days, having the same experience. That's also part of the quantum field, because you're not physically all in the same location, but we're building a field together of connection around this higher frequency raising exercise or practice, in this case in community. So collective global community and frequency raising.
Lisa is bringing up an issue that I think a lot of people can resonate with as well. Lisa Matheson Wood, she says she feels she's going in and out of the feeling of separation.
That's the human experience. And the fact that when you go out of it, so going in and out of separation means that at some point you're going in and out of connection and oneness. So if you're feeling that you are one with other human beings and God force and the larger energy of the universe, stay there more times. That's what I work on that all the time. I try to live in that state as much as I can. And when I live in that state, what I experience is that I feel that in other people, because that my frequency attracts it in other people. So that would be my invitation for you. But it's a fantastic thing to be aware of. Most of us are not. We just live in separation. So yay.
Laura responded back. I don't remember exactly what the question was now.
She gives us the answer. We'll figure out what the question is.
Yeah. Okay, let me. She said the intermingling of souls, parts of us in each other.
This has something to do with the quantum field.
Yeah, I think this was the quantum stuff. Yeah.
I would say yes.
Well, Kathy was the quantum. I see that. Oh, she saw flower of life type connections with people.
Oh, the flower of life.
And then
Yeah.
we said to explain more.
Miranda, are we needing to bring people back anytime soon?
Yeah, I think we're right at
Okay.
10 minutes. So I'm going to push.
Do I have sharing capacity? Because I have a thing I want to share. I don't, and I saw that I can share, right, in a little while? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so there's about 45 more seconds until everybody will be back in here, and they're going to start coming back now. Somebody was asking, what is meant by the last phrase in each meditation? Something like lines of a greater creator?
I don't know what you're referring to, but I talked about in this meditation, what is my next growing age and experience in communion with God and my angelic helpers and guides. So I think that may have been what she's referencing. So those are spiritual guides that each of us has available to us. We often don't know beings, and sometimes we do. So for you, it may be, if this is not a familiar space for you, invite them to share more of who they are and what their contribution is to your life. I'm assuming that was what she was asking. Okay, so hi everybody. Good to see a lot of you again who make it into the Zoom space. It's like kind of like a television show where you're like the television audience while we have all these people watching out into Facebook land. So, but you get to engage if you wish and ask questions because you're more available to be in that space, and others have that choice, but have chosen this other form. So anyone want to share any reflections on the meditation? Craig, I think I said I was going to call on you this time,
You did.
and I am. So, and you're still here, so you have the courage to still coming back and knowing that I would call on you. So
Yeah.
any reflections to offer?
Yeah, I think this whole, what we talked about, Sandra and Erica, we're discussing about how, in a way, it's a blessing in disguise, this whole quarantine, in a way. We're talking about, it's almost like we're not in prison, but missing, missing that connection that we have with our, with people, with humans, with, and with nature and all the other things. And it's almost like craving that connection. Like I'm seeing people walk across the street in my neighborhood, people, complete strangers. And I just want to grab them and give them a big hug. It's almost like, but I can't do that because of the social distancing, I'm trying to hold back. But what I've noticed, especially in where I live, is people are stopping to chat, like waiting at the supermarkets. It's almost like time's stood still. It's like, how can I say? It's like we stepped off the rat race, the human race, rat race.
Yes. And so what does that feel like for you, Craig?
To be honest, it feels great. Like I've spent so much time with myself that it's like I'm reacquainting myself with myself again. It feels like I haven't seen, man, where have you been all this time? I haven't seen you for ages, about myself. So it's been.
And what have you learned about yourself through that experience? If you were just to boil it down to a single thing.
What did I learn about myself? That I love myself.
That's a good start. I think if you just stay there, you'll get the prize. I think that's probably the prize. And where do you live?
In Devon, in England.
Wonderful. You sound
in Plymouth.
You sound
Actually,
like, yeah.
Where the Mayflower steps up, where the Mayflower, where the pilgrims from Europe and Britain left to go to America.
Huh.
So we're supposed to have this Mayflower event, the celebration of the pilgrims, or the Europeans and the British that emigrated to Native America.
Huh.
So it's quite an important event that's taking place in Plymouth right now. But obviously with the quarantine, it's been cancelled,
Huh.
So.
Well, you're now having an experience with America in this way, so that's fun. And you've been so dedicated to coming to the classes. So thank you for your insights. Well worth waiting for, I might add. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else want to share any reflection on the meditation, or questions or challenges that came as you ponders where's my growing edge in community? Rosemary, who has been building community in Brooklyn for all the time that I've known you.
Right.
Now, so.
And we're still clapping, even though sometimes I don't want to go out and clap. And I say to myself, Rosemary, people are putting themselves in harm's way and you can't clap for 3 minutes. So I push myself to go. But I've, the last year or so, I've been with a group of women looking into this concept of white privilege, and so my awareness is heightened about white privilege. And the last 2 nights I watched on PBS this Asian American history, I'm fascinated because when I think of racism, I generally think of brown and black people. And watching this program, which was about, I want to say about 6 hours, 6 or 7 hours of programming, historically from the 1700s to the current time, it's kind of like, oh my God, it's like, it's kind of like a shell was peeled off. And the, I'm wondering, and I don't have anything formulated, but I'm just wondering, what is it about Americans that we are so unaccepting of anything that's different than us? White Americans, I'm talking about Caucasian Americans. And even though I come from immigrant stock originally, so I have a sensitivity, but when I watched this programming, it really disturbed me. It really, really disturbed me. And my neighbors are Chinese, and when I texted, she has a daughter that's about 12, and I texted her to say that this program was on, that I thought maybe her daughter would want to watch this. And she told me last night when we were clapping that they did watch it. At first she didn't want to watch it, but then she got engrossed in it. And it's kind of like, how do we begin to communicate, to create some dialogue? Because there's so much hate, and it's based on nothing. It's based on physical attributes or something.
Well, I think that you're asking a very fundamental question, which is your nature, Rosemary. But before I answer that or offer thoughts on that, we were trying to increase the number of people who were going to be out clapping this week. That was your assignment.
That was last week.
I missed out on, so you've had 2 weeks to do this. Have you improved your number of clappers?
I haven't. They have increased. I have to say, I thought about it, and I certainly didn't get to my 100. But tonight I had 2 different families, 2 new families. I've had, tonight was a very special evening because we had a lot of children. We had people that were walking down the street, kind of walking into this cacophony of clapping, and they didn't know what to do, and they started clapping. And we'd have cars go by honking. So it was really kind of, it's funny. We play John Philip Sousa's Stars and Stripes Forever because it kind of, energizing. And it's very patriotic. And I know my neighbors have very different political views than I have. And, but there's something joyous. And that song on the CD is 3 minutes and 39 seconds. And there's something about those 3 minutes, 39 seconds, and we're all clapping and everybody's smiling. It's joyous. I mean, it makes the whole day. It's like.
So the answer to your question is you.
Yes, my husband calls me J-Lo. He kind of he thinks he's the production guy, and he says, you go out there and it's like you think it's the Super Bowl halftime. I do go out and I do energize. So yeah.
So I'm going to offer 2 thoughts. One is the solution to the problem that you've raised is you, because someone changes the whole conversation in some creative way by just being more vulnerable and more intimate. And then there's a longer term question, which is how do we get humanity to shift in that way? And you've been on the class, so you know about this game, this crazy idea that Miranda is helping me and many others are helping all of us together to create peace on earth in 10 years. Mm-hmm. And those 7 actions, I don't know if you've been to the website, but those 7 actions actually are the answer. Mm-hmm. There are 7 distinct behaviors that if enough of us do it, we actually transform the limitation, which is just enculturated. It's not like there's a lot of energy there. There isn't. It's just an enculturation that can be transformed. So there's a short-term and a longer-term way to think about it. And I invite you to work with both of them. I'd love you to join the game.
Mhm.
You're an amazing team leader. You could create a peace zone on your block. That would be very cool. So drop us a note and
Okay.
we'll tell you how to create a peace on earth zone. What's the street you live on?
I live on 72nd Street,
And in what borough?
Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. Okay. So 72nd Street Pose Zone. I think we should go for it. I mean, I'm speaking on your behalf. I think you should go for it. Anyway, think about this. I'm going to move us on into the next phase of our journey, which is moving into some of the how do we change the world work. And Miranda's putting in the, by the way, we have about 250 people who have said yes so far. We're launching on September 20th. In fact, I think Matthew and Brooke, who's missing in action at the moment, just as she's about to be invoked. But I'll wait for her to come back so that I can make sure that she is fully, whatever, embarrassed into having to say yes for a Kalamazoo pose zone. But they've been threatening to create one out in Kalamazoo. So we have at least one pose zone team in action. And then Miranda has one in Crestone. We've got several in California ready, Kabul, Afghanistan. We want 2,500,000 pose zones, and that's kind of the tipping point. One in every city and town in the world. And if you're in Brooklyn, we can have more than one. But you could take on Brooklyn, 72nd Street, be the epicenter of Brooklyn. Okay, I'm moving us forward. So what I want to do now is to check in on your experience applying your meditation insights on gratitude over the past week. What did you do? What did you learn? And we'll invite Facebook also to join in, the folks that are listening patiently, to offer any insights. In fact, we'll start with you. And then if we have time, we can invite some people from this class. And while you're doing that, just a reminder that your daily practice this week is to build or strengthen community on all these levels, in your life, your family, friends, co-workers. So put into action what you learned, what you gained out of the meditation. And another thing is to remember that there's this 7-part meditation, which Miranda can put into the chat also, which was the one where we had all the 7 frequency raising qualities. And the original impetus of this class, which has evolved over time, was to increase your immune system. Because the higher your frequency, the less susceptible you are to any kind of virus or negative, anything negative. So practice that, and you will find that your immune system will be significantly enhanced. Anyway, any questions or comments on or feedback on gratitude this week, Miranda? You are muted.
Sorry, I was posting the other thing.
While you're looking, anyone want to share anything that they did with gratitude this week? If you were in fact here last week and did something. And if you did,
Doing a lot of gardening. I'm so grateful I got a garden. That's for me. That's just like, right, let's go out and do some gardening. And been planting. I planted an apple tree. My first apple tree I planted in the back garden. And sorry.
And what was the gratitude? Where did planting a tree or come in?
It was a gratitude back to the earth. It's like,
that's nice.
And I've been looking into a beehive. I know I've got this obsession about beehives. I keep thinking about making a beehive. So it's to give back. It's like I feel like I've been taken away from the earth. It's like making an offering back to the earth. Okay.
So you planted a tree this week.
Yeah.
And what kind of tree was it? Did you say an apple tree?
It's an apple tree. Yeah, I saw it in the supermarket. I only went to go in to get some biscuits from the supermarket, and I saw this big apple tree. I thought,
So you're
Okay,
going to be the planetary hero of the week for planting an apple tree, having done a meditation on gratitude, gotten the message, I need to do something to give back to the earth, gone to a supermarket, found an apple tree and planted it. Now you did your job well. So you're going to get an A for follow through and an A on behalf of Gaia saying, yes, you are a good steward. So thank you for that. And it felt great.
it did, because I'm gonna get apples at the end of it.
Can't get any better than that, really. Anyone else want to share on gratitude? Matthew, tell us.
Hello, David. Greetings.
Hey, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm excellent.
Wonderful to see you. Thank you for having us on tonight. Well, gratitude. This week in particular, it was just so perfect. The last class lined up. Really trying to treat gratitude as a mindset and a lifestyle of living each day through the lens of gratitude, of being thankful for what you have and knowing that you're already taken care of. So, you know, your goals and everything that comes to you is really just gravy. And when you're already in that place of, I have everything, I'm complete, I'm taken care of, and I'm loved, and being truly in a gracious state of mind and feeling that, it's kind of like the rest of the details of life are softened, and you open yourself up to the rewards of, you know, positive manifestation. So for Brooke and I, we've been in the process of purchasing a house, and there have been some questions involved and some ups and downs in the process, but really staying in a state of being gracious for what we have and hopeful for the future, I think has cleansed a lot of the energy around what's been happening with us and the situation. And I think it's going to turn out in a real positive way for us. But I think that started with us already being okay with whatever the outcome is, because we know that we're already so grateful for what we have. And I think we're going to be rewarded for it. And it's been beautiful.
You are blessed, Matthew. With that, you can only get good things in your life. Brooke, your thoughts on gratitude?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been, I guess I've been working specifically with gratitude in my own life and my own journey for about 1.5 years now, and really trying to make it a center and a focus. So what I did over the past week was give thanks and gratitude specifically to my guides and guardian angels and to Archangel Michael, whom I've been in community with. And I realized that I had sent out a lot of prayers and asked for a lot of guidance, and I felt like I had really asked for a lot of help and guidance over the past week, and my prayers were answered in numerous ways. And so I realized that I had asked for a lot and hadn't really taken even 5 minutes to sit down and directly say thank you. So I did that, and I created a nice little personal sacred space, and I just went in and said very specifically how thankful I was to my whole team that's with me, and to my ancestors that are with me, and my guides and guardian angels, and just said that they've been working really hard with me, and I am going to keep working just as hard with them and for us, and I intend upon doing so. So I give gratitude very directly when I can, for sure, always.
So you guys can be the gratitude role models for couples. I mean, there's different levels of gratitude, but when you get it with two people who are married, then you get a synergy effect. It's beautiful. I honor you too. Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Posted on the house.
For sure.
Absolutely.
House adventure. It'll manifest. It'll be perfect.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We think so too. Believe it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move on to our last part of our time, which is the plan. So as you all know, I have been working for many years on a plan to reinvent the planet, a modest aspiration. And the moment we are in right now is perfect because the planet is ready to be reinvented. How cool is that? Like it was like delivered in my own, right into my hands. The planet wants to be reinvented and I've got a great plan. So we've been working through the plan over the last 6 classes. And this evening, I want to work on the community part of the plan, and particularly the 4th lever. We've talked about climate, and we've talked about development or women's empowerment, that aspect of our work on development. And we've talked about peace on earth, and we've talked about the knowledge lever, which is second order change and how we bring about transformative social change. And as part of that, we're developing what we call centers for reinventing the planet, where we build the knowledge center and we disseminate this knowledge. And there are many of them. Wherever we have one of these initiatives is a center. So if Kalamazoo or 72nd Street in Brooklyn become a zone, then it becomes a dissemination point for the knowledge, because it's embedded in all these initiatives, as well as, you know, a larger R&D hub where we start to build capacity for the planet. So I want to speak to specifically this community empowerment matrix that I was sharing earlier. And what you'll discover is that a bottom line of all of these levers, these initiatives that are second order change initiatives, is a community empowerment matrix, which grounds everything. Because if you're trying to get behavioral change at scale, it all depends on people. Now, is there anyone on this class that's been through a cool block? Erica, knew I could get you on that question. And Miranda's about to start. So Erica is our fearless filmmaker from Los Angeles, has been creating these amazing films on Cool Block. And what have you learned about community, Erica, in the Cool Block experience? And I'm calling it the community empowerment matrix, but what would you say is the key learning about why the community piece, how it works and why it's important?
Wow. My key learning on empowering my community and my Cool Block, I think, was making sure the community building that we were doing was not so, I mean, I can speak in David empowerment language, but here I'll say it like plainly, like making it so accessible and convenient for people to join, but still pushing them, but not pushing them so far that it was too much or put them, in over their heads, and having some fun and joy as well. So they looked forward to.
So you have all those ingredients, check. And what did you produce?
We produced a very successful Cool Block that is still active in its new quarantine way today from 4 years ago. So
longevity, behavioral change, community, connectivity, all the qualities one would hope for in a Cool Block, and still relevant today, 4 years later, and in service to this quarantine. What are you doing? How is the Cool Block showing up in the quarantine?
Currently, I think we're confused how to show up for each other, but there has been the occasional like checking in on each other, because we have the ability and we have each other's contact information and all that. It's mostly been that, because I think we're confused how best to serve each other in this time.
But you have each other as a resource as needed. Yeah. And I'm sure that you will use each other and maybe have in small and large ways over the last years. The main point I'm really sharing is this is what it looks like. And this is 4 years later. So how many things have built that kind of pragmatic community 4 years later? And that was just, this is not a, Erica, please come on the call and talk about Cool Block. This is not unique to Erica, it's the norm in this experience. So all of these are based on a matrix that I was sharing earlier, which is a vision-driven community that's focusing on behavioral change, that has a very coherent pull in the system that gets you to a place that you want to go to. The Cool Block is more resiliency, more planet friendliness, more community richness. But that's just one of the matrices. I wanted to share the larger picture with you. So that's Cool Block, ultimately aiming to carbon neutral cities and a cool planet. But the matrix are these cool blocks. And in the Peace on Earth game, the matrices, the community empowerment matrix is the Peace on Earth team, which Miranda has been part of. So Miranda, talk about, we call it a poet. What's it been like? And you've been on, well, you've had one team, you've also done a youth team, and you're on a third team. So what's the heart of the community empowerment component of the Peace on Earth team?
Well, I feel like we're literally seeing miracles happen. I live in a really little town in Crestone, Colorado, and we only have 1,400 people here. It's way up in the mountains. And yeah, I had one adult team in our first pilot round of the Peace on Earth game. And then we had a youth team running concurrently at the same time. And one of the actions is cooperation for the common good. And you ask your teams, what is the common good that we should cooperate for, that our town most needs, that our community most needs? And our youth said, well, we have kids that come to school hungry that don't have lunches, and our school doesn't have a lunch program. And we hate that. We don't want ever to ever see kids or families be hungry again. So our adult team said, yeah, that's a great mission. Let's aim for that and see what we can do. And since October, which is not very long amount of time, we now have 6 pieces of land donated, 9 organizations working together, and have received 2 grants from the county and the town, and were donated a greenhouse by the town to grow in as well. And we have 4 teams going and meet 2 to 3 times a week planting food, and our town really is on track, I think, to cure hunger for our town by fall, which came out of the Peace on Earth game, this goal of cooperating for the common good and actually solving an issue. So it's like beyond my wildest dreams every day that this is happening to this extent, just because the youth said, well, this is what we think we need most. And then it is doable. And then other people just jump on board for actual cooperation to solve our issues and do good. And I could go on and on about how amazing it's
Miranda,
been.
we could have a whole show just with what's happening in Crestone. Tell me what, since we're talking about community empowerment matrix, what allowed the team to show up in that way? Yes, they got a vision offered them by one of the other teams, the youth team, but what about the experience of this community that was built as part of the Peace on Earth game helped that move that forward, would you say?
Well, many things. I mean, the game itself helps you in your own personal transformation to kind of become more empowered and more connected to your community and more grateful. But there are tools in there too about how to, specific objectives of how to get people together to cooperate for common good. And then you earn points and medals for doing that. And then David has a book called Social Change 2.0, which I'm also a student of. And when we started running into some problems, our initiative kind of came together so quickly that it was like so many chiefs and everybody's trying to direct everybody on who knows how to garden best. And it just, we had some conflict in when you try to throw that many people together to cooperate. So David's guidance on his social change 2.0 principles have helped guide us in even more smooth working together in the last couple of months, because we were able to come together and develop a bigger vision and like, what are we all here for? And do we all believe in this? And how can we get there? And how can we get out of each other's way and not be so in each other's faces, all trying to be the chiefs? And it really worked. I've seen everybody kind of chill out and become more loving and realize we're all working for the same thing, and that everybody doesn't have to be in charge at the same time, and learn how to cooperate better and create more unity. And it's just beautiful how it's using these principles are actually working to create this more and more good.
Beautiful. So the Cool Block and Peace on Earth teams, the same community matrix, small peer support groups that help one another follow a structured process that comes out the other end with behaviors and team capacity that can be delivered to helping be more resilient in LA neighborhood or a Crestone, and in this case, be transformed into cooperation for the common good. But the same principles. And you also threw in Social Change 2.0, which has got these study circles where people who want to learn how to use the tools can also work together similarly in small peer support groups that help one another apply them to creating zones, for example. So they are very universal. And again, the same model. I'm just showing you the fractal, different applications across the plan. But each boils down to this community empowerment matrix, if you will. And then we have the empowerment workshop, which has now evolved into this Imagine program, which is in 12 countries with 35 NGOs that has influenced about 5 million people already. And they are using this personal development experience, building agency. Several of you have been on that experience or read the book. A different outcome, which is personal empowerment, not necessarily applied to community outcomes, but again, the same matrix. So at the end of the day, it's small groups of people coming together, learning how to apply this, should we say, transformational social change architecture or personal development architecture. So that's the community in action. Tonight is community. So that's what community empowerment starts to look like. And we've also, when we were first starting the empowerment, the Imagine work, and we were trying to figure out how to fundraise to pay for these women learning, we created what was called giving circles, small peer support groups that came together that raised money that helped bring these women from these developing world countries over to the US to learn in our institute. So a lot of variations on the theme. So I want to now just bring closure. You've all been briefed on this over the course of the last weeks. If you wish to go into those prior classes and listen to the other parts of the plan in more depth, you can visit reinventing.earth, and Miranda can put that link in. But I want to bring closure now on our time. And this is actually our last meditation we'll do together in this context. But before I do that, I want to share something very special that I'm introducing right now. And many of you, I think, will be very excited to want to participate. So let me just review our next, the agenda for this week, which is apply what you learned in your meditation. By all means, continue to see if whether you want to play the game and be one of the many players around the world creating peace on earth. But last thing I want to share with you, and I'll share in my share screen, is a new class that I have put together that has come out of this, that connects with this game, this larger idea that I'm sharing. Can you all see what's on my screen? It should say Jedi Training, Peace on Earth by 2030, Planetary Frequency Raising Leadership. So I am now opening up a class for Jedis. And as people that have always wanted to be a Jedi, this is your moment. Any of you wanted to be a Jedi your whole life? I mean, I always have. I'll tell you, let's start with me.
I've always wanted.
So this is a class for Jedis. I mean, I don't have the sword part down, but I do have a lot of the other components. So let me tell you what this class is, though. I'll read you the text so you can get a feel for what this thing is. It starts, by the way, July 1st through August. It's free. So let me start with, this is a free class. So, but it does demand that you wish to really learn, like this class has been. So there's no charge, except you really are ready to show up in a way that maybe you haven't been invited to show up before. So this is what the class is aspiring to do. So we're building a movement of dream keepers, those who believe peace on earth is possible and are committed to making it a reality. So we're saying that this coronavirus is launching an opportunity to change the world that we've never seen before. This is part of the how, not just to hang out. And wouldn't it be nice if we could make the world better? What if we actually could create peace on earth, which is the foundation for all change? But in order to do that, we have to have people who believe it's possible and are willing to make it a reality. We call those dream keepers. And they will be empowered with the 7 actions that enabled the first Earth Run, this large global event we did in 1986, to pass and flame around the world, to unite the world and create peace on earth over its 86-day journey. These 7 actions are designed as a global game that will last 10 years, 2020 to 2030. Each of the 7 actions is a frequency raising master code for creating peace on earth. The training is systematically deciphering these master codes and helping you apply them to your life, your community, and your planet, as we are seeing Miranda describe. The success that Miranda described in Creststone was not by accident. They were deploying these master codes. They didn't know the master codes, but they just were using them. This class unpacks them so you really understand them. The DNA of each master code is based on my 40 years of experience developing what I call evolutionary acceleration strategies. Evolutionary acceleration strategies. We went over the codes of the Reinventing the Planet plan, and we were defining what an evolutionary acceleration strategy is. It speeds up time. If you want to change the world and create peace on earth, do you need to spend like a decade? What if you could do it in less than 10 years? What if you can create the transformation of the climate issue in less than 10 years? They require evolutionary acceleration strategies. We talked about the carbon neutral city plan, speed up time by 30 years, which is now in play in a city, 2 cities. So that's what you'll be learning. Peace on earth. So here's the definition of peace on earth. It's a higher thought and emotion. Peace on earth is a frequency of higher thought and emotion translated into specific behaviors. Enough people are operating with these thoughts and emotions translated into specific behaviors like cooperation for the common good. You get peace on earth if enough people do that. So to appreciate planetary frequency raising, we need to understand that our every thought, emotion, word, and action is energy and manifest that frequency in the world. Love, faith, and gratitude manifest a high frequency and attracts experience in kind, as Matthew and Brooke were describing. Fear, doubt, and anxiety manifests a low frequency and attracts experiences in kind. This is how our lives and world are created. I call this a Jedi training. Aside from the fact that I've always wanted to be a Jedi, I think I've always has been a Jedi, but I've never been able to figure out how to build a training around it. I call it a Jedi training because you'll learn how to work with the energy of the universe or force and direct it to higher frequency expressions in your life. You'll also learn to walk the Jedi master way. And the idea of the training is not just to teach the skills and tools of frequency raising, but it's to apply it. If you're a Jedi, you actually have to change the world. That's why you are a Jedi. And specifically, applying it to a path of service to humanity's evolution. And the initiation experience is joining a select group of leaders across the planet who've taken on humanity's greatest challenge, the creation of peace on Earth, in a decade, starting wherever you live. 72nd Street, Kalamazoo, Los Angeles, Crestone, wherever. So you don't have to change your life. You just show up and you work from that spot where you are. And peace on Earth is the portal through which we must pass to reinvent the planet and usher in humanity's golden age. How do we get climate change to be taken on? People have to change relationships. That's the starting point. It's the foundation for everything. Otherwise, we just have polarization and just keep spinning. While there's no charge for joining this training, it does require a commitment to learn, grow, and fully engage in this Jedi community. So that's the invitation. And we'll be sending out this flyer into the world, and you can just come to our website, reinventing.earth, and you can also get it. And Miranda, I don't know if you can put this flyer in a link in the chat, but that'd be great if you could. I think you got it today from Carlin.
Yes, I just added it on Facebook, so I'll send the event link and the link to this flyer inside of the event.
Okay. So that's it. And you can go to the course link, which is listed here, to learn more. So enough on that. Know it's coming. We've got 7 weeks or so before it starts. I invite all of you who are called to this to join. And I think it's going to be remarkable. I think the people that are going to show up are going to be like a modern day Knights Templar. I think we're going to be building the future together here about how the world can change. And this is the moment. If not us, who? It's our time. So let me close with our final meditation. So this is a planetary frequency raising meditation on what I call sacred community. This that I've described, this Jedi community, is a sacred community. So this will be our final meditation for now. So a sacred community is one aligned with your spiritual mission of service to humanity and planet Earth's evolution. It's a distinct community. A sacred community, we experience 4 characteristics that I will be developing as part of this Jedi training. But any sacred community, for it to be truly my definition, has to have these 4 qualities. Identity. When you are part of it, you feel that it's your deepest soul identity, why you have incarnated on the planet. You feel that level of identification. Belonging. You feel that this is your spiritual tribe. You feel deep resonance. You are with kindred spirits, kind of like, in Lord of the Ring, when they went searching, that group was a sacred community on a sacred mission. Love. You feel loved in this community. You're so received because you're so with kindred spirits. You feel loved and you love. So you're in a beautiful, beloved community of like-minded souls on this deep journey. And lastly is empowered. You feel being part of this community, you can realize your full spiritual potential and in turn empower everyone else in the community to realize their full potential. So it's an empowerment community, not unlike what we've been talking about, but applied to your sacred soul mission. There are 3 foundational components to a sacred community, and they're interdependent. There's the human component, the earth, and the spiritual. And in this meditation, I'm going to help you build or deepen your relationship and interrelationship between each of these three components. So get quiet, take a few deep breaths. We've been in the intellect, we've been in the heart, and we're going to now get deep inside of ourselves into that spiritual place once again. I will invite you to be on this journey with me. So take a deep breath, and as you breathe in, feel yourself in harmony with yourself, others, and the earth. Re-invoke that state you were in earlier. And now let me just guide you. So the first part of the meditation, say this to yourself as I say it. I accept my sacred mission as a light worker to be of service to the human community and its evolution. I accept my sacred mission as a light worker to be of service to the human community and its evolution. So allow that to fully land in your heart, in your soul. This is the moment to accept, if you have not already, or deepen if you have, your sacred mission. Life is not about a job. Those are pieces of a puzzle. Life is about fulfilling our sacred mission. For those who are called, not everyone is ready to receive that call, but if you have received the call, fully allow it in. This is an initiatory moment for you. I accept my sacred mission as a light worker to be of service to the human community and its evolution. I do everything within my power inwardly through my thoughts, my feelings, and outwardly through my behavior, my actions, to help humankind evolve into a magnificent and enlightened species. This is our destiny. I do everything within my power inwardly and outwardly to help humankind evolve into a magnificent and enlightened species. We are raising the frequency of the planet as we say this and our own. So breathe that in, allow it in, allow it in. And we move on. And imagine now 12, 15, 25, 30,000 people saying this with you. I don't know how many will join. We've had as many as 30,000 people. Maybe we'll have that many, maybe we'll have 10, but it's more than a few who are aligning with you as you say this. So the second part of the meditation, I accept my sacred mission as a light worker to be of service to the earth community and its evolution. I accept my sacred mission as a light worker, one who is in service to light, to be of service to the earth community and its evolution. I accept my sacred mission as a light worker to be of service to the earth community and its evolution. I do everything within my power inwardly, which are my thoughts and my feelings, and outwardly, which are my actions, my words, my behaviors, to help the earth evolve into a magnificent and enlightened planet in our Milky Way galaxy. This is our moment to shine. I do everything within my power inwardly and outwardly to help the earth evolve into a magnificent and enlightened planet in our Milky Way galaxy. Fully allow that in. And the third intention, affirmation, prayer, vow. I accept my sacred mission as a light worker to be of service to the angelic and ascended master realms, those realms that are dedicated to humanity's and planet Earth's evolution. I accept my sacred mission as a light worker to be of service to the angelic and ascended master realms, angelic being all the Archangel Michael, and all the beings who carry the frequency of service to humanity's evolution. And similarly, the ascended masters, those beings who've been on this planet, like Jesus and Mary and the Buddha and others, called the ascended masters, who are here to help humanity and are available upon request to serve. I do everything within my power, inwardly and outwardly, to disseminate their light, their love, their wisdom on our planet, to help it evolve into a bright light in our universe. I do everything within my power, inwardly and outwardly, to disseminate their light, love, and wisdom on our planet, to help it evolve into a bright light in our universe. So fully receive your sacred mission in service to the human community, the earth community, the spiritual community, in service to Earth's evolution. Now I invite you to visualize, to see in your mind's eye, our beautiful Earth and all human beings filled with your light and love. Visualize our beautiful Earth and all human beings filled with your light, coming out of your heart and your third eye, and your crown chakra, and your love emanating out of your heart. See how much light and love you can offer to our Earth and all human beings. Take a moment to offer your light. And as you do that, imagine everyone is doing this simultaneously, and we are raising the frequency of humanity and planet Earth as we do this. So take a moment and do this with me and all of us. Visualize our beautiful Earth and all human beings and see them filled with your light and your love. Now imagine the frequency of humanity, whatever frequency it's at, rising significantly beyond our three-dimensional energy and all the energy that's currently contracted. Feel it getting dissolved and rising into the state of light and love. And feel, as a result of the consciousness of humanity rising, the Earth frequency rising as it receives our collective love and light. This is how we raise the frequency of the planet, through human beings, that then allows Gaia to have a higher frequency. Which then is a virtuous spiral, which then reinforces for other people love and light as a new spiritual frequency available as more of us offer it up. And lastly, visualize the success of this evolutionary adventure on planet Earth, with an enlightened humanity and planet Earth radiating light and love out to the universe. We have successfully achieved our evolutionary goal for this phase of our evolution, with an enlightened humanity and planet Earth radiating light and love out to the universe. Allow that fully to be experienced. This is our destiny. This will happen. And you have the chance to be part of that, and are already by virtue of being here. And hopefully we'll continue this. So let us just be quiet together as we end this journey we've been on now for 7, for some 8 weeks. It's been a long journey, a beautiful journey. I have been so grateful to have so many of you join. I am deeply touched to have your presence, feel your partnership in this adventure called personal and planetary frequency raising. I wish you all Godspeed on your journey. I hope to see many of you again in the Jedi training or other ways, perhaps. Practice these 7 frequency raising qualities each week, each day. They will make your life better. They'll make the world better. God bless you. Thank you. And our paths hopefully will cross again.
Thank you, David.
You are
Thank
most
you.
welcome. My blessings, everybody. So, to be
Yeah.
continued, hopefully in the future. I know we will see each other in some form or other. So, go in peace.
Thank you.